Genesis chapter 27, and this is with Jacob. And I guess maybe I should set this up just a little bit. Isaac was 60 years old when his sons were born, Jacob and Esau. And we remember we'll come back to this. I won't get into it now, but Jacob's name, it means something, and we're going to see where it really takes I won't say prophetic kind of meaning, if you will, but he does fulfill that role, if you will. And so we'll notice that in just a little bit. But in chapter 25, we remember how Jacob had buys the birthright from Esau. And I just bring this up because this is one of the things that, I noticed about Jacob and Esau. You have two different individuals. And Esau, I'll ask y'all, just from what we know about Esau, how would y'all characterize Esau? Huh? He was a hunter? Yes. Hairy, red. Yes.
He's a bit brash.
Yeah, exactly. Gable?
As the Hebrew writer describes him, as a profane and godless person.
Right. He very much, I think of a me person. Me. He's a hunter, and he's going out and he's doing his thing. And how would you contrast Jacob to that? Is Jacob a hunter? How'd you kind of contrast him? What would he be more? Yes.
Jacob he stayed at the tents. He was more the administrator type, as far as taking care of the things that were around and close by, and that it seemed like even more so, like you said, me. He saw like the freedom of going out by himself and hunting versus the responsibility of running, things at the tents and such.
Yeah, I think of Jacob as someone who kind of blends in. Here's the activities going on, and he's like in the tent, or he's doing whatever. And you mentioned administrative. I'm sure he's right there, doing what he can. And so, you see two different personalities on display here. And I think in the real world, that we have. That when you have people, that's what you have. You have some people, and y'all might know of people or may have family members. You have those me, and you have other ones that seem to be they're there. They just kind of blend in, and they're part of what's going on. And so the reason I bring that up is because when we get into the story and we see it, we can be quite critical. But what we have here, these are people, and they make good decisions and they make bad decisions, and they're this isn't a fairy tale. This isn't something made up. These are real people, real events. And when you look at your own life, you'll see parallels and glimpses of, in your own self. If you're honest, I made a mistake, or this, or there's somebody you care about, like, why are they, just saying. And that's one of the things we don't need to lose sight of. It'd be great if everybody did what they were, this is what you should do, and this is the path, and you just, it doesn't work that way. It's real life. And so going back to Jacob buying Esau's birthright, the thing about it is, I think Jacob had that kind of perception, if you will, had that focused perception, if you will. Esau didn't, as was mentioned by Gable. I think that he's a profane man. He didn't value things like he should have. And so, I'll read what Bob has to say here. The Bible states that Esau despised his birthright and was therefore a profane man, and it references Hebrews 12:16. We might won't go to it now, but we might go to it a little bit later. The word profane describes one who does not have a proper regard for things important. From the fact that later Esau was fully prepared to accept the blessing and portion of the firstborn, as we're going to see in chapter 27, we infer that he did not take seriously the transaction with Jacob. Even so, Esau was treating what should have been a very serious matter in a very unbecoming way. In a family such as this, the birthright would have made Esau head of the tribe, as well as giving him the major portion of his father's wealth. at this point, when this happens and he's, he comes in and I'm going to die, I'm starving to death, and and Jacob takes, again, don't make Jacob a hero for like, oh, you jumped on that opportunity. Shouldn't you have fed your brother anyway? No, but again, he was perceptive in that way to, what was truly valuable, and he understood that. And so we see that about Esau. And one thing about Esau, and we won't get into it obviously today, but down the road we're going to see where maybe he finally he finally starts to figure it out a little bit. I'll just leave it at that. So we'll go ahead and get into Genesis chapter 27. When Isaac was old and his eyes were dim so that he could not see, he called Esau his older son and said to him, my son. And he answered, here I am. And he said, behold, I am old and I do not know the day of my death. Sounds like he's thinking, hey, it's coming. I need to turn over the operational aspect of, what's going on here, to his oldest son. And, he's thinking, he's thinking he's going to die. What's interesting is that he's going to live for quite a number of years after this. I think something like 43 more years. But he's at this point where he's thinking, hey, and I don't know if you ever have days like that where you think, I pushed myself. Did you have a comment?
The other thing on this, and you talked about the birthright and everything. If you look at it, so far throughout this whole thing, the big deal is made about the firstborn and the birthright. I can't think of a time yet where the actual firstborn has for sure inherited the birthright, that's explicitly stated that they were the firstborn. Whether it was now with Cain and Abel, of course, it was because one murdered the other and then went through Seth. But if you look at all of it, even the ones that were prophesied to do the best, to be the best of Noah's son, Shem's not the oldest, but he was the one that was that everything was prophesied to go through. Isaac's not Abraham's firstborn son. Jacob is not Isaac's firstborn son. We get down, Judah is not Jacob's firstborn son. And even down to, and I think we made the point in previous classes, if you look at it in a technical way, in order of birth, Jesus is not the Lord's firstborn son, as it notes in the Bible. Adam is the son of God. He was the first son of God, but he was not the son of promise. And so, every single way, it is. I think this is a large part of the way. The reason the Lord did this is once you get down into the Jews, and they make such a big deal out of the firstborn and the inheritance, and we're the children of God. They're not learning the lesson that's being put forward here. It's not just because they're the firstborn and they deserve the inheritance and that they're the children of God. And Paul makes that point later on. Not all of those born of Abraham are Abraham's children. It's the spiritual thing, and they completely miss the point.
Right. Yeah. From an earthly standpoint, yeah, as a physical birth, yeah. And that was one of the things I was kind of touching on. When I was talking about Esau and Jacob, imagine if you had a family, and like you say, the true firstborn is not really what he should be, but you have someone down the line who is, wow, this guy he gets it, and that's the essence. That's why I say the essence of our human experience here is the fact that, you think this is the way it should go, but when you see it in practice, you find out, like you mentioned, it's the firstborn, like Ishmael, Jacob did not, not Jacob, but Abraham did not want to, he's not the son of promise. And so the thing here is, though, I think at this moment, I think Isaac is obviously considering Esau, being the eldest, and remember they were twins, so not by he was the oldest, but not by much. And but he calls him, And in his mind, this is the way I guess it should go. Isaac's thinking this is how it should work. But we're going to find out, as Marcus pointed out, that's not the way it tends to go a lot of times, I guess you could say. And here's the chronicle of Isaac, and we get to put things in perspective. Was born when Abraham was 100, Sarah was 90. Circumcised the 8th day, weaned, offered, and I think that's referring to Genesis 22. And when they're carrying the wood for the sacrifice, if you remember, Abraham puts it on Isaac. Basically, he's old enough to carry the wood, so he's the one carrying the wood. Sarah died when he was 37. And remember, she lived to be 127. Married Rebekah at age 40, and if you remember back when there's a period of time that I guess that he would have mourned for his mother, and Rebekah comforts him, and I think we touched on that last time. So there's a period of 3 years there, so we kind of get the how the years are being met, how things are working out, the time frame, if you will. He was 60 when Esau and Jacob were born, 75 when Abraham died, 100 when Esau married, 123 when Ishmael died, and 137 when he blesses Jacob instead of Esau. Now, he's going to live to be 180, so that's going to be like 43 more years. But he's thinking, hey, this is it, and and he's going to turn things over. So here's how this is going to unfold. So he says, now take your weapons, your quiver, and your bow, and go out to the field and hunt game for me, and prepare for me delicious food such as I love, and bring it to me so that I may eat, that my soul may bless you before I die. What kind of game is he going for? I didn't really notice that before. It didn't really, in the New King James, it doesn't mention. What animal do you think he's probably going after?
Probably deer.
Deer. That's venison. Yeah, and in Bob's material, that's what he mentions, venison. And I thought, well, and I'm thinking, most probably that's what he's going for is deer. I would think so. And prepare for me delicious food such as I love, and bring it to me so that I may eat, that my soul may bless you before I die. Now Rebekah was listening when Isaac spoke to her son Esau, when Esau went to the field to hunt for game and bring it. And Rebekah said to her son Jacob, I heard your father speak to your brother Esau. Now therefore, my son, obey my voice as I command you. And when you think about it, Isaac seems to be partial to Esau, but Rebekah seems to be partial toward Jacob. And you see this partiality here, as it were. And and I thought about that, and I thought, to a certain degree, I hate to say it, but I think we are to some degree with our own children. For some reason, we connect. And I'm not saying we that we don't care about them or anything like that. But sometimes, in a family, you may have one child that just, I think this is real life stuff here, and but you see this partiality, and Rebekah's pulling for Jacob. She wants to make sure that he gets this blessing because it's pretty significant. Go to the flock and bring me 2 young goats so that I may prepare them delicious food for your father, such as he loves, and he shall bring it to your father to eat, so that he may bless you before he dies. And Jacob said to Rebekah his mother, behold, my brother Esau is a hairy man, and I am a smooth man. Perhaps my father will feel me, and I will seem to be mocking him and bring a curse upon myself and not a blessing. And I see that we're Jacob's pretty perceptive. He realizes this could go horribly wrong. While he can't see, here's what you're trying to, here's what you intend, but it could go the other way. Well, notice what she says. His mother said to him, let your curse be upon me, my son, and obey my voice, and go and bring them to me. She's even willing to say, hey, yes.
I'm going to say that you can see the verbiage here that there's something going wrong.
Yeah.
talk about a curse, or you talk about he's a married man and he committed sin. That shows you that God's plan is not being used here.
Exactly. Again, these are people, and they're doing their thing, if you will. Yes, Marcus.
Well, she's doing what Sarah did originally with Hagar. She's trying to bring about something that God had prophesied and said was going to happen herself instead of waiting and letting God do it.
Right. She's putting herself in there, but the way she does it, it just I just see she is really and you think but Esau's her son too, but she doesn't seem to have any, it's Jacob. Jacob, he's the one, and she's even willing to take hey, curse be upon me. That's saying a lot. So he went and took them and brought them to his mother, and his mother prepared delicious food such as his father loved. Then Rebekah took the best garments of Esau, her older son, which were with her in the house, and put them on Jacob, her younger son. So she's covering all the bases. We're going to put the clothes so there's no doubt if he gets close to you, you're going to smell like your brother. And the skins of the young goat she put on his hands and the smooth part of his neck. So anywhere he might feel, we got that covered. And she put the delicious food and the bread which she prepared into the hand of her son Jacob. And so he went into his father and said, "My father." And he said, Here I am. "Who are you, my son?" Jacob said to his father, "I am Esau, your firstborn. I have done as you told me. Now sit up and eat of my game, that your soul may bless me." And that makes me wonder how they did the deer. Was it a little gamey? Because I don't know. I've never had goat. Is goat a good? Purvey, you ever had goat? Is it good? It does taste like deer. Okay, all right. I think I've had lamb, and the one piece I did have, it was a little gamey too, so it could have passed for yes. That's exactly right. It is an outright lie. Yes.
And then the other thing to bring up is looking into the future here. Everybody that takes place in all these things, winds up being punished in a way. We'll get to it later, but Jacob is deceiving. Later on, he's going to be deceived. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, things are going to go full circle, if you will. Yeah.
Joseph's brothers sell him into slavery into Egypt. Their descendants will be slaves in Egypt.
Yeah.
Things that we do have a way of coming back to bite us later when we least expect it, and affect those around us.
Yeah,
we don't want it to. We don't think about it.
There are consequences. Darren, did you have something? Okay. Yeah. So, but you're exactly right, and that's something we need to remember, huh? Yes. Exactly, and that's one of the things. As we're going to see, I find it ironic or interesting and ironic that you'll be there a few days, and that few days is going to really stretch out. But Isaac said to his son, "How is it that you have found it so quickly, my son?" So I guess you would think to hunt and to do everything it's going to be a little while. He answered, "Because the Lord your God granted me success." Well, no. God did not, no. Then Isaac said to Jacob, "Please come near that I may feel you, my son, to know whether you are really my son Esau or not." So Jacob went near to Isaac, his father, who felt him and said, "The voice is of Jacob's voice, but the hands are the hands of Esau." And I wonder if he even tried to disguise his voice a little bit, try to talk a little or mumble or whatever. But he didn't get that part past Isaac. But to verify, there's a way I can tell exactly who you are. I can feel you, and I'll know if it's you have the hands of Esau. And he did not recognize him because his hands were hairy like his brother Esau's hands. So he blessed him. And so, if you would, let's read Genesis 27, verses 24 through 29. Genesis 27, verses 24 through 29. Then he said, "Are you really my son Esau?" He said, "I am." He said, "Bring it near to me, and I will eat of my son's game, so that my soul may bless you." So he brought it near him, and he ate, and he brought him wine, and he drank. Then his father Isaac said to him, "Come near now, and kiss me, my son." And he came near, and he kissed him, and he smelled the smell of his clothing, and he blessed him. And I'll pause there. See, the mother, she knew. Put the clothes on him too. Make sure I guess if you're going to do this thing, you better have everything covered. And he smelled the smell of his clothing, and he blessed him and said, "Surely the smell of my son is like the smell of a field which the Lord has blessed. Therefore may God give you of the dew of heaven and of the fatness of the earth and plenty of grain and wine. Let people serve you and nations bow down to you. Be master over your brethren, and let your mother's sons bow down to you. Cursed be anyone who curses you, and blessed be those who bless you." That's and I think in this blessing, these blessings seem to be prophetic. This isn't just something that just I can say, man, I hope you're successful, and then something may bad happen to you, something like, well, that didn't work out too good. But these blessings that they give, they seem to have a prophetic kind of and I think that's why they were so valuable. They were the blessings, and I didn't actually. I should have talked to Wes to get a little bit deeper into that, but they had great value, and it wasn't something just like, hey, just speak good words to me. These are this blessing is something that when he blessed him, and we're going to see where enter Esau in 27 through 30. 27, 30 through 40. Now it happened as soon as Isaac had finished blessing Jacob, and Jacob had scarcely gone from the presence of Isaac his father, that Esau his brother came in from his hunting. He also made savory food and brought it to his father, and said to his father, "Let my father arise and eat of his son's game, that your soul may bless me." And his father Isaac said to him, "Who are you?" So he said, "I am your son, your firstborn Esau." Then Isaac trembled exceedingly and said, "Who? Where is the one who hunted game and brought it to me? I ate all of it before you came, and I have blessed him, and indeed he shall be blessed." When Esau heard the words of his father, he cried with an exceeding great and bitter cry, and said to his father, "Bless me, me also, O my father." But he said, "Your brother came with deceit and has taken away your blessing." And Esau said, "Is he not rightly named Jacob? For he has supplanted me these 2 times. He took away my birthright, and now look, he has taken away my blessing." And he said, "Have you not reserved a blessing for me?" Then Isaac answered and said to Esau, "Indeed, I have made him your master, and all his brethren I have given him as servants. I've given to him as servants with grain and wine. I have sustained him. What shall I do now for you, my son?" And Esau said to his father, "Have you only one blessing, my father? Bless me. Me also, O my father." And Esau lifted up his voice and wept. Then Isaac his father answered and said to him, "Behold, your dwelling shall be the fatness of the earth and of the dew of heaven from above. By your sword you shall live, and you shall serve your brother. And it shall come to pass when you become restless that you shall break his yoke from your neck." And as we get back to that as we mentioned, Jacob's name, the significance of the name Jacob or surplanter is one who takes the heel of another to pull him down in order to take his place. And that's exactly what Jacob did. But Jacob valued those things and Esau didn't. As we turn over to, I'll quickly turn over to Hebrews chapter 12. Hebrews chapter 12, verses 16, I'll read verses 16 and 17. lest there be any fornicator or profane person like Esau, who for one morsel of food sold his birthright. For you know that afterward, when he wanted to inherit the blessing, he was rejected, for he found no place for repentance, though he sought it diligently with tears. So here he is, and this time it's like the birthright. He didn't show it, and whether he thought it was as we say, legal or not, he goes on like it didn't really mean anything. But this time, thinking he's going to get the blessing, it makes me wonder if he gets the blessing, then he's going to get the stuff. He's going to be head of everything. His father's behind him. His father's in his corner, and didn't matter what happened before. I got it together now. I'm going to be the one. Turns out, no, you're not Esau. But Esau, to show the kind of man, as we said, a me person, So what's he going to do? Now Esau hated Jacob because of the blessing with which his father had blessed him. And Esau said to himself, "The days of mourning for my father are approaching. Then I will kill my brother Jacob." Isn't that what a person with that kind of personality, that kind of mindset? Hey, I tell you what, I'll just get rid of him. Just kill him. It'd be an easy thing. I do it all the time with, I guess you could say, I go out hunting all the time, and I'm pretty good with the bow. We just have an accident. Well, maybe I'll take him on a hunting trip with me. I'm just saying, I don't know how he was going to arrange that. It may not have been that elaborate. Yes.
I was just going to say that it's really ironic considering how that he thinks this way and he's willing to sit here and plan this out, considering how much longer we could have.
Yeah, exactly. The days of mourning, that's what I say. Isaac's going to live for 43 more years. So really, he's in the moment right now. But the words of Esau, her older son, were told to Rebekah. So she sent and called Jacob, her younger son, and said to him, "Behold, your brother Esau comforts himself about you by planning to kill you. Now arise, my son, obey my voice. Arise, flee to Laban, my brother in Haran, and stay with him a while." Mine, I think in the box it says a few days. New King James says a few days. Here, I think it says a while. "Until your brother's fury turns away, until your brother's anger turns away from you." And as was mentioned, a while turned out to be 20 years. For Rachel, he got Leah and then Rachel, and then he worked another 6 years, I think, to build up his possessions, flocks and stuff. So he was there 20 years, and I guess Purdy mentioned this. No indication she ever saw her beloved son again. So this is the consequences. You think, I know what's going on, got this thing figured out. No, you don't. No, you don't. And so basically, and I think it was when I was reading in the Bible, I just mentioned this, that she says, he's upset by what you did. And I thought, wait a minute, Jacob, what you did, didn't you have some help in this? It wasn't just you, but, moving along. Then Rebekah said to Isaac, "I loathe my life because of the Hittite women. If Jacob marries one of these Hittite women like these, one of the women of the land, what good will my life be to me?" And if you remember back in chapter 26, I think it is, the very last, talks about when Esau was 40, he got married. In essence, he married Hittite women, Canaanites, if you will. In verse 35, "And they were a grief of mind to Isaac and Rebekah." So Rebekah, the cover story is, we don't need Jacob to take one of these wives like Esau did. He needs to get one back, from Mesopotamia, and. But the true thing is, she's trying to get him out of town so he doesn't get killed. We have to pause there. I meant to get further and we didn't. But thank y'all for all your participation.